What's up? What's up? It's going to be another HBCU Monday on the Monday for real this time. So anyway, we're going to cover pretty much Jackson State's continued domination of the SWAC. North Carolina Central do the damn thing in the MEAC, some CIAC, and CIAA news. I promise y'all this last we're going to get into more of that this week. But I want to spend the last half of this podcast talking about what Roland Martin was mentioned on the show regarding Deion Sanders, not only his disdain for these money games where small schools get paid to go to the bigger schools, most of the time get the asses beat, but also these schools, not these HBCUs especially, in my view, not knowing their worth. Like this, you cannot tell me that FAMU in their March 100 could not get more than $450K to go to Chapel Hill to play the North Carolina Tar Heels, and many things like that. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed the program. Please give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until then, let's get it going. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Klown Hour Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Please check me out on my sports blog, www.theclowntops.net. You see my hat here through the glare here, fighting the glare. You can check me out on Facebook as well. So your laptop, desktop, mainframe, wherever you are, where it may be, just type in the Klown Time. You find me there as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Well, I should say, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Picking up some new followers today. Well, I should say subscribers. I'm thinking about Twitter for some reason. Not followers, but subscribers. So picked up a few subscribers this week. Again, looking to hit 1,000 by year's end. More than halfway towards my goal, so I can get this puppy monetized. We could continue to bring you the funk every week, at least once, twice a week, maybe 3 times if you're lucky. But anyway, so continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. Even if you don't like what I have to say, just comment anyway. I'll comment back. My partner will comment back. Whoever my guest is that night will comment back for sure. So hey, it's all good. So just help the algorithm a little bit. Also, speaking of the hat, get the merch at cafepress.com. Shows to the Clown Town Sports. I have that link in the description below this video. You find it there as well. So, as you know, tonight is HBCU Monday for real. No Labor Day to preempt it. No travel logistics, whatever. We're here. This is HBCU Monday. So obviously, I can't have anybody else on, but my homeboy, my fellow Aggie. Y'all know him for the yards, HBCU Sports Reps about all things HBCU sports. So it's Sleazy with it every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, you can check out his great work at herosports.com. Reps on all things FCS athletics as they pertain to HBCUs. The man, the one and only, Nostradamus. Well, I should say Nostradamus. Dwayne Nash is back in the house. How you doing, brother?
Man, Scott, actually, you could have someone else on. I'm just glad it's me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we both know there are plenty of us in the HBCU sports space that could bring the funk as well. I mean, we had some on in the past, and looking to get some new ones on in the future who's been in the HBCU sports space. So anything to drum up more awareness and more hype about our beloved HBCU sports is all gravy to me. So the more the merrier. So.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's all good there. All right, let's get to it, man. This past weekend's games, I mean, we all thought in the SWAC that the Jackson State Grambling game would be at least competitive. I mean, we've been hyping it. Hell, I've been hyping it since Hugh Jackson took the job at Grambling, right?
Yeah.
You got two dudes running these programs with extensive NFL backgrounds. One from a Hall of Fame player's perspective as Coach Prime, the other one as a long-time coach in the NFL, Hugh Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what, man? It didn't matter. 66-24 Jackson State over Grambling. Shadir Sanders, once again, 21-31 for 357 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if that wasn't bad enough, Savion Wilkerson, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, had 23 carries, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And And I mean, good gracious, they jumped on them early. You know, I mean, it was like 21 to 17 at halftime, but they didn't really start jumping, I should say, until the third quarter.
Yeah.
Third quarter, they're like, let's just end this. And boy, did they score 24 points in the third quarter alone, outscoring Grambling in the second half 45-7. Let me just ask you this, man. Is there any way, would Jackson State be, is there anyone who could challenge Jackson State in the SWAC at this point?
What is it looking right now? No.
Yeah.
No. I don't see it. I don't. And the teams that I thought could have either fallen by the wayside already, or have taken losses already that showed me that I don't think they're ready. And I say that by talking about Grambling, FAMU, and Southern. You know, Southern took a big hit this past weekend, losing to Texas Southern.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, they lost to Texas Southern 24-0. First time that Texas Southern shut them out, dating back to 1971. First time that they've beaten Southern in back-to-back years, going back to 2010, 2011.
Wow.
And you know, they didn't necessarily put up, you know, gaudy numbers, but the things that I was looking for, I was saying that, you know, what was that Texas Southern having the worst defense, scoring defense in the conference, facing the second best scoring offense in the conference. TSU proved me wrong and shut the Jags out. So yeah, I had expectations for Southern coming into this year, especially with Eric Dooley moving over to Southern, and of course bringing his boy Dumas over there from Prairie View A&M over with him.
Right.
But it's still not over for them. But you can't lose to Texas Southern the way that you did this past weekend, and me think that you're going to come into a matchup with JSU and beat them. Now, but also remember, any given Saturday, right?
Right.
Anything can happen. But if JSU continues to play the way that they've been playing so far this season, with the exception of the way that they looked in the first half against Grambling, and Coach Sanders was not a fan of it. He let it be known going into the halftime that they weren't playing their best.
Yeah.
Because at one point, actually, Grambling was only down 14-17. They were only down 3.
Yeah.
And, of course, if you haven't been paying attention, this is the first time that Grambling has given up a touchdown. Not Grambling, but Jackson State has given up a touchdown all season long. Matter of fact, they gave up 3 this past weekend.
Right.
But, yeah, like you said, JSU turned on the Jets in the second half. Now, you forgot on another stat, too, as it pertains to Store. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns, too. So we had total 6 touchdowns, career high, 5 yards off his career passing high. And God, what was it? He had another career high there, 2, the 6 for the the 5, So yeah, just those 2 things, yeah. Again, this is something that this dude has been doing all season long, and there's only 3 games in where he's been setting career highs already. It's insane. And you talk about Savion Wilkinson, the transfer from Delaware State. I've been looking for them to play him more, and they finally done so within the past 2 games.
Yeah.
He finally gets his first 100-yard rushing game against Grambling. And what's your boy's name? Dallas Daniels, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Had 7 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns himself.
Crazy. I'm looking at FAMU's schedule. I'm looking at Jackson State's schedule. I have FAMU on the brain because I saw them first. They played them first. I really don't. I mean, forget the conference, just the whole schedule. I mean, they play Campbell on October 22nd. Which should be a good one.
Yeah.
But really, they're in Tennessee State were the only out-of-conference games as I'm looking at it. You know, and you know, I would say Arkansas Pine Bluff maybe, but they wouldn't play them until the SWAC championship game if Pine Bluff makes it that far. Maybe Texas Southern. They played Texas Southern this year. but they're only winning 2 so far after 3 games. Maybe Alabama State, they're 2-1. They
Yeah,
played at
but
Alabama State, but I don't know. I don't see it. I really don't see anybody challenging, much less staying within double digits of Jackson State this year, outside of Campbell.
yeah. Well, I mean, even with Bama State being 2-1, they're 2-1 against Howard and Miles College, Division II Miles College. So
Okay,
those
there
two
you go.
wins they're 2 wins, but still they're 2 wins. But yeah, as of right now, man, in the SWAC, everyone who I thought would be competing against this program has shown me that they probably can. And as good as Jackson has looked all season long, all 3 games,
Right.
they've compiled at least 400 yards worth of offense. They didn't put up the points against Texas, against Tennessee State, but they still put up over 400 yards of offense.
Right.
So if there's a way that someone can bend and not break against this team, that'll be the way that they beat this team. But this defense looks most definitely better than what they did last year, and they looked good last year.
Right.
But this offense has most definitely matured a year later. And once again, Shedeur Sanders connected with 11 receivers for the 3rd time this season in a game.
That's just
Insane.
outstanding. That's outstanding. And happy for that young man. Still happy for Coach Prime. He's doing the damn thing. More on him. We're going to talk about him more in the second half of this podcast. But let's go to the MEAC right quick. There's that damn squad again, that rival of ours, North Carolina Central. They went on the road outside of out conference at New Hampshire. From I think they're the CIAA, right?
No, yes, they are. New Hampshire is the CIAA, yeah.
Yeah. So pretty good conference.
Yeah.
But they went to New Hampshire, and not only beat them, they walked in their house, Central, they walked in their house.
And mollywopped them.
Mollywopped them. But before they mollywopped them, they didn't take their shoes off.
No.
Trapped the muddy feet in the house.
Yeah.
Put their foot on the coffee table. Told New Hampshire's girlfriend to go make them a sandwich.
Go make me a ham sandwich. Make me a ham sandwich, but don't cook it. But don't cook the ham sandwich.
Make the sandwich.
You know, this bug, she tried to cook the ham sandwich.
Tongue kissed the girl. Looked at the boy and said, "What are you gonna do about it?" And then beat him down.
Yeah.
And then it took his girl in the process. So it was 45 to 27, excuse me. And, it wasn't even close. The final score wasn't as close. This game didn't give an indication how lopsided this game was. I mean, you got the young man, Max Bromsmer. I hope I pronounced his name right. From New Hampshire, he had a decent game. But it was all Central, man.
Yeah.
So Central's 3-0. Again, I'm looking at Central's schedule, pulling up right quick. They get South Carolina State the same weekend that Campbell goes to Jackson State. So that figures to be whoever wins that game between Central and South Carolina State will probably end up winning the MEAC.
Well, technically, that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
And it came down to 3 points in Orangeburg. This time, they come to Durham.
Correct.
So as well as Central's been looking all year long, they actually have Campbell in 2 weeks, after they face Virginia Union this week. Again, I'm gonna tell you like I told Coach Oliver earlier today. I won't doubt you ever again, bruh. I will not fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah.
I bet against y'all twice this year and came up wrong both times. I actually said this to Coach today. He didn't look too happy as I was talking to him about this. As I can only imagine, this dude with a new lisp is talking to you now about how he doubted your team all season long. But they've been extremely impressive. Davis Richard, the quarterback. I don't know why I like calling him Richard.
A hell of a
I keep wanting to make his name special, and it's not. Or his coach likes to call him Pee Wee.
nice.
Davis Richard, had another spectacular game.
Yes, he did.
Going over 150 yards, both passing and rushing. 2 combined touchdowns, right, Scott?
Yep.
And
2 touchdown receptions and 1 touchdown run.
Also, he had 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, yeah.
And God, the other thing, they held New Hampshire to 60 yards rushing.
Yeah.
So this is a Central team. Well, and I think that's the other thing too you did talk about was the fact that New Hampshire was ranked 24th in the nation, or 25th in the nation when they played them. And a couple of other things that you probably didn't know that I didn't know going into this game. Well, one, they dealt with plane trouble. Their flight actually got to wherever the coach didn't know exactly where they landed. He said it was somewhere either Massachusetts or New Hampshire. Didn't necessarily remember, but they got there late. On the way to the game, they had to deal with traffic. So they had to deal with players on the bus falling asleep before it was time to play, before wartime. So, y'all can't be going to war falling asleep on me like this.
Right.
And still they were capable of going up 21-0 against New Hampshire. Can you imagine if everything was going right for Central going into this game, how this thing could have looked? Now, New Hampshire tried to make it a game of it,
yes, they did.
In the third quarter and brought it a little bit close. But Central put the foot back on the gas and said, nah, we're not going to relent on this one. We're not going to let you guys come from behind to beat us. We're going to go ahead and take that.
They were only down by 7 points at halftime. They were only down a touchdown.
Yeah.
You're right about that. They scored late in the second quarter.
But, first time that Central has gone 3-0 since 2006. This is the first time they've gone 3-0 as a D1 program. And this is the first time that they've beaten a ranked opponent since 2016. As coach, everyone's media is getting hyped based upon their play. And I wondered whether or not they have to have conversations with the players about, keeping their egos in check, making sure that they're not going in with this cocky mentality that, they're the ones to be beaten. And he's like, dude, people, and I wouldn't have been mad had he said me too, have been doubting us all year long.
Yeah.
So we're still coming in with this chip on our shoulder, looking to take it week by week. And they actually have Virginia University of Lynchburg this upcoming week. It looks easy on paper, but he's talked about how they have great talent in the skill positions. It should win this game. I don't know exactly how convincing it's going to be yet. It should be very convincing though. But I'm being nice to VUL right now. But in 2 weeks after that, in a week after that, like I said before, they got Campbell. Right. So hopefully this isn't one of those games where it's what's the word I'm looking for here? Those trap games.
Trap games, yeah.
In between facing New Hampshire and Campbell that they have against VUL, but coaches said, and as he's always been saying, is that he takes it week by week. Right. He's only focused on this week. He's not worried about next week. And I believe him. So, they're going. In my eyes, they're most definitely the team to beat. But I still believe that the MEAC is the hot box, and that all it takes, again, is the wrong loss at the wrong time in a 5-game race in this conference. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
but Central is looking damn good right now.
Yeah, they are. Davis Richard, 0 point, 18 to 27, 194 yards, touchdowns. But he had 16 carries, 140.
Yeah.
He always
140.
Certified ball. Certified ball. So they got a good thing going. Central does. Again, pains me as a A&T alum to say that, but Central's got a great thing going. Now I'll be watching that game they have with South Carolina State, right? And the MEAC itself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it when they play Campbell. I'm so looking forward to that Campbell game. Now I'm looking forward to the schedule. I think Campbell. No, they go to Campbell.
They go to Campbell.
Because Campbell. I know Campbell goes to Jackson State next month. So that's gonna be, that's an intriguing matchup between Central and Campbell and State, two in-state programs. And Yeah.
I truly believe that the game against Central will be a gauge of how Campbell looks against the other HBCUs that they played this season. Because remember, they play Central October 1st. They play Jackson the 22nd, and then they play A&T for their homecoming on the 29th. So, yeah, if Central looks good against Campbell, I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson State beats them.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Campbell's is one turn now because they played at East. They got stumped at ECU. And William and Mary, who's also a damn good FCS program, they pummeled it as well. So,
yeah.
Which, by the way, future conference for both Campbell and A&T in the CIAA. So, golly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So,
but iron sharpens iron, right? Right, Scott?
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. Speaking of A&T, we're gonna talk about obviously the D2 like conferences, but just wrap it up with A&T in the Big South. Man, they lost 49-20 to Duke. I expect them to lose to Duke. Yeah, they're Power 5. Duke looks pretty damn good. They won at Northwestern. I know Northwestern's not world beaters, but they beat Nebraska for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And I mean, A&T, I'm looking at the schedule now. I mean, Sam Washington, I don't know, brother. You got South Carolina State this week at home. Yeah.
I will say this though, in defensive T, Buddy is most definitely concerned about this game. He hasn't beaten A&T since I think 2014.
Oh wow!
And don't get me wrong, he is most definitely giving me heart attacks facing the Aggies during that time span. But yeah, they just haven't had an opportunity to come up with a win against A&T. So he's like, don't let what you've seen of A&T fool you so far. Statistically, they've been putting up numbers in terms of yardage. They just haven't had an opportunity to score points. And he's talked about a lot of the good things, mainly Tootin, the running back, that they end up causing them fits. So I know that's his coach talking good about his buddy, but I'll be intrigued to see exactly how that game plays out. And I'm worried too. Again, I'm highly concerned that A&T gonna start the year out 0-5.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Hampton. Speaking of future conference foes in the CIAA, they're 3-0 to beat Norfolk State, but they're looking good. And they got Delaware. They're at Delaware this coming weekend. But the shout out to Hampton, man. Shout out to Hampton. Just want to throw that in there. So
I'll say this, right?
Yeah.
So before the season started, I was a little rough on Hampton. You know, I literally said on a podcast appearance that we need to go ahead and say a prayer for Hampton. This might be 2022 might be a rough season for them. And here they go, starting out 3-0. But I believe that CAA play is around the corner. I truly believe that the over-under wins for them was 4. So if they're capable of sneaking out a win against their CAA brethren, they'll get to that 4. But I don't know, man. We got to wait and see exactly what happens. But at least right now they're 3-0. You can't take that away from them, though.
Yeah. I mean, they actually look very, very good this year so far. You know, they beat Howard early this year.
Yeah.
They beat Tuskegee, albeit they're, and whatchamacallit, D2, but still the point is that, you know, they're winning games that they're supposed to right now. And, you know, you can't knock the hustle. We'll close things out, this segment out with the CIAA and the SIAC. You know, Fort Valley State, Benedict tie for first. Benedict had a great win. They had the nice uniforms on with the white tops, the purple. I mean, the white tops, the purple jerseys, and the yellow trousers. And you know,
but y'all like them when they're in that colorway, yeah.
They beat Savannah State, the Fighting Shannon Sharps, and of course in the CIAA, Virginia Union is looking pretty good, as is Virginia State so far in the Northern Division.
Mm-hmm.
Fayetteville
Both
State in the
undefeated.
Southern Division right now, they're looking pretty decent with some state. Brothers alma mater not so good. So is this shaping out to where you suspected so far in both conferences with Virginia Union dominating right now, right ahead of Virginia State, its rival in the Northern Division? We always talked about Fayetteville State in the offseason, but Fort Valley and Benedict College having the dogfight at the top of the SIAC as well.
Well, Benedict isn't necessarily who I thought would be at the top right now, but it's early. It's week 1. Well, for conference play for them.
Yeah.
But I think they were picked to finish second in that division. So not necessarily a big surprise. So we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out for the rest of the conference, rest of conference play for those guys. But they are out to an early lead. Same could be said about Virginia Union, Virginia State, as well as Shawan and God, who else is in the North that's 1-0 right now? Is that the Elizabeth City State?
Look at that right now.
Yes, Elizabeth City State is also 1-0, so they're all 1-0 right now in conference play in the North. The thing is, of course, is the upset of Bowie State by Shaw. Now, it doesn't necessarily hurt Bowie in division play, but of course, there are winless now in conference play, and losing to a Shaw team. I don't think anyone had them coming up short against them this past week.
Yeah. And right quick, where is Shawan located?
Shawan's in North Carolina.
Oh, they're in the Northern Division, right?
Yeah, in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Memory serves me, yeah.
Huh. Interesting. That's an interesting division of location quirk.
Mm-hmm.
I had a North Carolina school in the Northern Division. But anyway, that's not a here nor there. So before we get into the second half of this podcast, I'm gonna just give a shout out to my sponsor at BetUS.com. So listen up, sports bettors. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, UFC, and MLB. So if you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, we got it. So how about fast payouts and exceptional one-on-one customer service? We got that too. So log into BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. Also, use the promo code TKC for the Klown Times to get the bonus stuff up as well. So BetUS.com, where the game begins. All right, man, let's close up this podcast with this, man. I sent you and some HBCU sports buddies on Twitter. Tagged y'all in the video. Well, Coach Prime, well, not Coach Prime, but basically it's from Roland Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He had on our guy, Scotty. Shout out to Scotty from Allscripts.
Well, you just call him Scotty.
Scotty, well, there you go.
I'm the one that put the little accent on there for him. It's my man.
Yeah,
Scott
I think did Roland Martin before time Scotty? I forgot. But anyway, the point is probably there. But the point is that
he had a segment. T-A-Y.
Yes. So he probably called Scotty. But the point is that he wanted to bring the fact that Coach Prime decried all those what you call money games, right? Money games being small schools travel to big schools, get a payday to get the ass kicked, right? So they were talking about Coach Prime was going this whole thing. You've heard this about not liking the fact that you're getting your kids' confidence beat in and their dignity shot down just for some money. And if the money is not enough money, because they drew the I remember Roland and Scott was break it down what certain schools did the week before, like the 3 Sunbelt schools he mentioned. Marshall got over $1 million to go to Notre Dame and beat them. Appalachian State got $1.5 million to go to Texas A&M and beat them. Georgia Southern also got over $1 million to go and beat Nebraska. And meanwhile, FAMU got $450K, it was reported, to go to Carolina to go to Chapel Hill or UNC to lose to them, and albeit in a competitive match. But still, I mean, the fact is they did fly in, but they flew into Charlotte instead of Raleigh, which is much closer to Chapel Hill. But whatever. But the point is that you got only $450K from the school that's flush with cash, and that still did not pay for I understand it, did not pay for all the expenditures. So FAMU's still coming up short, if not in the red. So it's like the whole panel had a panel on Raul Martin did about HBCUs not knowing their worth, especially when they're hot right now. They're hotter than fish grease. With what's going on with the SWAC, the hype around Coach Prime, the Jackson State, all those brands in the SWAC, you know, the FAMU, the Marching 100. I think Southern has the jukebox, right?
Yeah, the human jukebox.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like the question Roland Martin was posing was, who in the hell is negotiating these deals? Who's negotiating? I mean, and I've mentioned this, I turned blue in the face in the past. And, you know, it's hard for Black people to turn blue. But anyway, you know, it's like we talk about the media deals in the past. HBO Go, the more I read, the less appealing I found to find the deal, right? Of course, we all know the ESPN, their little deal is. So it's like, who is negotiating? Would it be at the president's level, college president's level, or from the commissioner's office? Who's negotiating these deals? Because like I said 1,000,001 times, and Roland Martin alluded to this with his panel, the SWAC in particular is sitting on top of the fucking gold mine. And they're squandering this shit away. It's a squandering away. And there's no way in the world that those schools with Jackson State, FAMU, Southern, Grambling, and one could argue Alcorn could get so little deal with all those brands sitting in. It's like if you don't, it's one of those things. Or if you're not the smart person, if you're the smart person in the room, get the hell out the room. Bring in people who know what the hell they're doing to the commissioner's office to negotiate these media deals. You can't tell me they cannot reach out to Apple. They cannot reach out to Amazon. They can't reach out to Hulu. 3 major streaming entities that are looking for sports content, live sports content.
Yeah.
You're telling me they can't do that? And those 3 are really looking hard for sports content, live sports content, especially Apple and Amazon Prime.
Hulu is no longer looking for it because
Hulu's off the table. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because they have a deal with ESPN where they
that's right, the bundle.
Their matches
that's right, the bundle. That's right, the bundle. I totally forgot about that. With Disney, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Yes, correct. So that leaves Amazon Prime and Apple TV.
Not just them. Peacock.
And you're telling me that no one in the commissioner's office is smart enough to sit down with them and say, yo, you want more more sports, live sports content? We got this brands over here. We got Coach Prime. We got Grambling. We got Southern. We got FAM. And I know you guys got the Grambling and Southern game every year anyway. But at least cut a deal with it. Who says you can exclusively negotiate with one of them? Do what the Big Ten did. Get them all together. You can't tell me they can't get those 3 entities together who want live sports content, and especially that HBCU market. You're telling me that the largest consumers of streaming are Black folks.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they can't that those 3 entities don't want to take advantage of it, because I know they do.
They most definitely do, Scott. But I'll say this.
Yeah.
Right. What is it that they say about what your value is? You know, you're only paid what the market will bear.
Correct.
And if 1, the market doesn't see value in you, and 2, you're not capable of negotiating exactly what your value is, then that's a problem.
Right.
You talk about, and it is true, that African Americans are the biggest consumer of streaming content. That's another issue too, because well, of course we're not one we're not a monolith, and
Right.
we're all aren't going to necessarily watch HBCU athletics.
Right.
Even
Good point.
HBCU alums and masses don't necessarily watch HBCU athletics.
Right.
But if there's a way that you can go ahead and marry, and this is something that most definitely has been discussed, if you can marry the sports and the culture of HBCU athletics together and make that pitch, you most definitely could attempt to get your worth, right? The problem, though, we talk about the amount of money that HBCUs have received in these money games. You brought up the three Sunbelt schools. You got to remember, Sunbelt is FBS.
FBS, right?
Of course, with the MEAC and SWAC being FCS,
right,
or 1AA for old school Bammers who haven't been able to keep up with times over the past 15 years now. Yeah, we need to catch up. It's FCS now. But only one institution was paid over $1 million by an FBS team, and ironically enough, it was Idaho when they played against Indiana. Now, the most that an HBCU has received this year to play, and of course, it's a long trip that they had, was Alabama State going to UCLA. Now, oddly enough, Southern was capable of getting, how much did Southern get? They got $500,000 to stay in Baton Rouge to play LSU. So that's big for them.
Yeah.
But they also had the human jukebox come and play there too.
Yeah.
So Southern seems to get it, even though it's not $1 million. Dude, they got $500K to go up the street.
Let me ask you this right quick.
To
your point, to that point, and it's probably different for Southern because, from what I understand, I don't have a map in front of me. I think Southern and LSU are literally right down the street from each other.
That's what I'm saying. They $500K to go up the street.
Yeah, so they're both in Baton Rouge. So I mean, I get that. But to me, in the case of FAMU and Carolina, going to Carolina early, the first opening weekend, when Matt Brown, Carolina's head football coach, said himself that he was looking forward to the band, to the Marching 100. And that meant that all the people, the Carolina fans at least, were looking forward to the Marching 100. Hell, you seen the video that went viral when both the bands came together and everyone went crazy. So at least have someone in FAMU's hierarchy to negotiate, to be, because I don't think any of these schools know how to negotiate, to be savvy negotiators. Because if they want the band, what the football game and the band, it's all about knowing what you're worth. And I don't think a lot of these presidents or whoever at these schools don't know their worth.
More than likely, it's the AD. And I will say this, Scott, without necessarily having conversations with these ADs, and my plan is to actually have conversations with not both current, but former ADs. Because I got a strange feeling the former ADs will give me a little bit more information than the current.
Of course,
they know. Because it's not a new thing for Florida A&M to tell the school, nah, we're not sending our school up there to play.
Okay.
They've done that many times, Taney's, to quote Booty Tang. So whatever it was within the negotiations of between Carolina and FAMU, matter of fact, let me see if I can find that number real quick while I'm talking to you. But yeah, whatever it was, Florida A&M agreed to it. They said, okay, cool, for them. Like, see, South Carolina State got paid $500K to go play against South Carolina. Again, a trip right up the street. Yeah. But oddly enough, FAMU got paid $450 to go to Chapel Hill.
That's so all those kids and fans to Charlotte still Raleigh, which is another problem. But anyway,
and the band.
Yeah, so and the band.
But again, this is something that they agreed to.
That's part of negotiating. That's part of negotiating on that part. To take both the football team and the band to fly them up. I hope they pay for the airfare at least.
I'm hoping so too. But you also got to remember, that of course these games are planned years in advance.
Correct.
And Florida A&M is most definitely a program that has been going through influx as it pertains to their leadership.
Yeah.
So I don't know off the top of my head when this game was negotiated and who negotiated this contract, but I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's one of those situations. Like I said before, we've seen FAMU in this very interesting ebb and flow, up and down periods with their athletics department over the past 10 years, over the past decade, where things have just gone awry. And yeah, you getting paid less than South Carolina State just to go up the street, or Southern to go right up the street.
Yeah,
it boggles my mind, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Any quick hitters? Any HBCU quick hitters that we failed to touch on that's football related, so in football season or otherwise?
I got to shout out Damon Wilson over there at Morgan State getting his first win as Morgan's new head coach. Actually, it's an out of conference win to be even bigger about that. They beat Sacred Heart 24-9. They handled Sacred Heart 24-9. And of course, I got to shout out my man Larry Scott over there at Howard. They played this past weekend over at the HBCU the New York HBCU Classic Showdown, up at MetLife this past weekend, shutting out Morehouse. And that was Coach Scott's second ever shutout as head coach over at Howard. And guess who scored a touchdown during that game?
Who?
Eaton James, the son of Edgerrin James.
Nice.
Who was also at the game. Highly excited to see his son get his first touchdown, a 51-yarder to be exact. And of course, they asked some questions about the current state of HBCU athletics, and it was interesting to hear what his take was. But yeah, I gotta shout them out, and of course, I gotta shout my man out, Rob Milstead, on his win, and Alcorn becoming the first SWAC team to beat McNeese this past weekend, 30-17.
Yeah,
15 attempts. Yeah, they're the first team, the first SWAC team to get them an OOC win over McNeese. So congratulations to Coach McNair on that dub too.
Nice. On that note, let's just close it out, man. So again, just for our sponsors who make this program go, BetUS.com, sports bettors, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com is bet for 28th year of NFL action. Live and game betting, incurable odds with daily odds, boosters, props, and parlays, fast payouts, and accessible one-on-one customer service. We got it all. So long as the BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. So BetUS.com where the game begins. Use the promo code TKT for Clown Times. Thanks again, my man. Please check out his great work, theyYardHBCU.com. See the backdrop there. Sleezy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live and YouTube. And last but not least, HeroSports.com, rest of all things FCS athletics, as it pertains to HBCUs, www.theclowntimes.net. Check me out there. I'm going to add a couple of things this week, I promise. Also, continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. CafePress.com, search for the Clown Times Sports. Get the merch, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it. You got it. Take care, you guys. Until next time, peace out.